Alright guys, we're here tonight with this week's Saturday Night Champion, Suckmylevel. Let's get this started. Alright, why did you decide to play this variant of Shadows tonight, the hybrid with Bujin?
So essentially, Bujins have a great matchup with every deck. Like it's kind of like a neutral matchup with most decks, and the Shadow Engine gives it an explosive, gives it more explosive plays. And the Bujin deck, the monsters force people to use their extra deck. So with the Shadow Engine, I'm able to capitalize on people using their extra deck to try and kill my Bujin monster, which is Yamato.
Okay. So, I guess that was second question. How have you dealt with lessening the probability of opening awkward or unplayable hands, considering that you play Bujins and Shadows mixed?
Well, generally we have Duality, we have Tenkeys, and the Shadow monsters themselves are great standout settable monsters. You can set them, and I can also set my own monsters as bluffs, and people are afraid to attack into them because they're unsure whether or not it's a Shadow or if it's a real Bujin monster. So that allows me to follow up with the XYZ play because people don't want to really go in and attack when it might be a Relic instead of a Shadow. And if it's a Shadow and they attack, I basically bounce their monster or whatever.
Alright. How did one Falcon and one Hedgehog play out over the tournament, and did you ever miss their utility and Hedgehog's ability to search fusion?
Nope. And the main reason why the OC, Falco is okay. On theory, it's great, but when you start playing Falco, it becomes cloggy. You don't really need more than, in my opinion, you don't really need one even in the basic Shadow deck. And the main reason for that is the deck lends itself extremely well. So one Falcon is easily dumped by the spell, and Yamato is able to utilize a Falcon that's in my hand and special summon that. So I don't really need more than one Falcon. And for Hedgehog, I don't really need, because the deck is primarily a Bujin deck, which has a Shadow Engine added onto it, which gives it more strength and more power. So I don't need the full Hedgehog engine to search out my things, because I can grind phenomenally with the Bujin monsters and draw into it. And on the rare case where I have a Hedgehog, I can set it and flip and search for a spell.
Okay, cool. Well, Fresh really thought that Nightbeam was an interesting choice in your side deck over the MST, and he really liked it. And why don't you talk about Nightbeam in this deck?
Alright, so Nightbeam is to rape Shadows. Basically, facing Shadows is like one of their greatest spells and traps, so shutting that off just fucks their day up. They can't really do anything against that, so they can't go for that potential plus off a Beast or a Dragon or anything else. So that's basically what its utility is for, and it's just for having extra ST killers or whatever.
Alright. Do you feel that Vanity's Emptiness is the best floodgate card in the game?
Definitely. Making the Shadow player minus off I perceive this meta as being a shadow meta, so having a Shadow player go minus off of fusion is great. And if you look at the decks, I'm just looking at DN right now, but if you look at the decks that are kind of at the top, a lot of these decks are special summoning decks, so I've kind of used that and saw that most of my matches may have a lot of decks that special summon with effects I can change to it.
Okay, cool. What matches or cards were you afraid of going into the tournament tonight?
I'd say some Rogue banishing deck. like you really aren't afraid of anything because you have answers to everything. If someone clears your field, you have a Bujin Incarnation, and usually if someone cleans your field, they use XYZ, so you have Shadow Fusion, and you have floaters. You have answers to everything. This is kind of why I like this deck.
Alright, well with that in mind, what was your hardest matchup tonight?
I'd probably say the Chaos deck. It wasn't really hard, but compared to every other matchup I had, it was the most difficult.
Okay.
The primary reason why is because they inherent special summon, it's difficult whether or not when to use a vanity, or like if they have a set Raikou, which with the new errata to Turtle and Hair, I can't use Turtle in the damage step, so that was kind of scary. And how they could have like the JD come out of nowhere, that was the most scariest thing. But beyond that, nothing really scared me. I had control of most of my games, all my games actually.
Okay, well, thoughts on what you saw tonight? Any decks or techs that caught your eye, or there was anything that was interesting tonight that you saw?
The Battery Man deck, that was awesome. But what I faced, nothing really interested me.
Okay. Is there anything you would change about your deck, or anything you would have done differently in the tournament itself?
No.
Nothing at all. Anything else that you would like to say about your deck, or like how the night went for you?
So basically, the deck played how I wanted it to play, how I visualized it to play. Like Yamato just stood there and kind of trolled people and laughed in their face. And when they tried to kill him, I'd have a Crane, or I'd have a Sinew in the grave, or I'd have a fusion in hand, 3 fusions, shit like that. So like really like Fusions without the Shadow Engine, if you kill their field, like they're like it's kind of bad because like you don't really have anything, and like if I have a group incarnation, that's probably probably the only move I have left. But with the Shadow Engine, I have a shit ton of moves left. If you clear my field, I have a group incarnation, and then I have a Shadow Fusion to follow up. So I just like I kind of can like blow through Rakro with the deck because I main 2 MSTs to blow through to chain of vanities that try to stop my fusions, and then I have dragons, and then I have group incarnations, which kind of eat back row and allow me to go in for the kill and go for game.
All right. Well, just a real quick look over your deck because that's the end of the questions, and I'll toss this out to Tweety as well.
Alrighty.
But it seems the only card of note would be that I'm curious about anyway would be the side deck. Well, there's 2. Would be Skullmeister and the Trap Hole. How did those cards work out for you tonight?
I sided in Trap Hole for the Shadow matchup to bounce mid-rash and whatever, and Construct, but I didn't see that. I didn't see Skullmeister. But from testing that I did before, Skullmeister is great. You can use it to stop any Shadow on the grave. You can use it for the damage step. So that kind of substitutes some Hair for me in the damage step, because I can use what the fuck am I talking about? Never mind. I can't substitute Hair, but it's great in this damage step to like. It's great just to stop stuff in the grave. I like it better than DD Crow, because DD Crow will just remove a fusion, but it won't really stop a dragon from blowing my back row and stuff like that.
Okay. Anything else for you, Tweety?
You don't like Bottomless Trap Hole this format, I see. Why is that?
Yep. Because I see it as a shadow format, so that bottomless to mid rash isn't that great. Compulsory is better. It's more reactive. I can use it at any time. I can use it if someone's about to go for game. I can just like prevent them. If I had like a group incarnation in my hand, but someone was going to go for game, I could use a compulsory instead. And like we don't really see mass summoning. I don't really see mass summoning happening in this format, so I don't really need Bottomless Trap Hole. But Torrential does what Bottomless does and more for me. And then Compulsory is better this format in my opinion than Bottomless is, because again, mid rash, it won't stop mid rash. And although it's good for Construct, Compulsory does the same thing. So I wouldn't want to waste a slot on Bottomless.
Yeah, I remember we talked about this in one of our previous Skype chats over the last week. Concerning mid-rash in particular, about how Compulsory at that time wasn't necessarily a great card choice for a deck, but it would definitely become relevant as soon as he hit the TCG.
Yeah.
Is that it for you, Tweety?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, well, we'd like to say congrats to you again, bud.
Thank you, man.
And that's it for your interview, guys. We'll see you next week.